One of the things I like about the real estate agent, realtor community is that there's a lot of philanthropic things that happen. And everyone's always looking to put a name out there for themselves, but at the end of the day, I think the majority of these people are just good people. So we're running over to BJ's this morning to pick up a ton of peanut butter and jelly and cereal. I'm compelled to get Fruity Pebbles because my nickname in high school was Fred. And ironically, Danny, who I do coaching with every week, referred to me as Barney Rubble yesterday to go meet up with two friends of mine, Aaron Bates and Rebecca Cohen, who are with Century 21 up in Syosset. And they kind of put a call to action out saying that they're collecting. So I feel compelled to contribute in any way I possibly can, and being that I do have a few minutes to spare today, we're going to go do some shopping, drop off to them, go say hello. From there, we're going to head back to our weekly Beyond the Bottom Line group meeting over at Crypto with Lauren, and I believe Tom and Christina are both going to be joining us this week. And then after that, I'll be meeting a guy by the name of Charles Weinraub. Charles and I have kind of crossed paths through social media. I just came to find out the other day he's actually interviewed Aaron and Rebecca, and he's very good friends with Christina Shaw, so small world. I'm dropping you off, heading home, and I'm getting on a flight to Florida to go spend a week with my family. My mom had shoulder replacement surgery a couple weeks ago, and normally we do Thanksgiving at my house, and I have all the in-laws, and my wife is one of 7, so we get a full house between the brothers and sisters and in-laws and all the cousins running around, and my mother-in-law and my parents. But unfortunately, due to mom's shoulder surgery, we're gonna take a small bunch of us and we're gonna head down to Florida because she can't travel, and I don't think it's right to leave mom home alone for Thanksgiving. Hey everybody, I'm here today with two great friends. To my immediate right is Rebecca Cohen, and to her right is Aaron Bates. They are the Aaron Bates real estate team here at Century 21 in Syosset. So, two of the best people I know in this business. I'm privileged to get to spend some time with them. I think the three of us have our heads in it. I think Tom and Christina do. I think Lauren does. And there are a couple others that I would love to bring into the mix and just say, you know what? Yes, we're all in competing businesses and competing offices and may even compete with each other, but there's more than enough to go around. Sit down and throw your bet. That's why I keep saying to everybody, what can I do, what can I do, what can I do? I have no secrets. My entire business model and entire business plan will all be out there within a year for everybody to poach whatever they want. That's why I like that Facebook group. It was my idea. I let them run it in different directions, so I take the fault for that, but now we're getting back on track a little bit. I want to create enough content in there that people who don't want to think about creating content can just go in and click and steal it and share it on their page and make it look like, and here's how to make it look like it's yours. You didn't borrow it from us, you created it.
Right.
So I'm watching everybody's hashtags and all the other stuff, and I'm looking at so many of them. But that's what I'm looking at, is like, who are the smart people who are open-minded enough and not just looking around do the same bullshit? And how do we kind of build something that's bigger than everybody? And I don't know where it's going to end up, but that's kind of my mindset. So, you know, you've been on my hit list since we had that one interview, how many years before I got into the restaurant business?
7.
It's been that long, right? That's what I said, it's at least 5 or 6.
When I was driving here, I was thinking about something that you said to me in year 1 of real estate. You said, and it always stuck. It wasn't crazy or anything, but I remember we sat down. Dean did this whole like round table thing. So we went from agent to agent or something, and I sat down with you, and you said something along the lines of, well, I don't claim to know everything, but I know somebody that knows.
That's it.
Knows the answer.
Yeah.
And I always thought about that, and it's the truth.
It's how I've built my career and everything I've ever done. Listen, there's only so much capacity I have in here. So if I take half of it, and one half is knowledge, and the other half is knowledge of people who have all the knowledge, that's all I focus on. You know, that's why I like to have conversations, because I was saying to Anthony in the car, I love the opportunity when people ask me questions, because I get to teach, because, listen, you may learn something, 1 out of 100 people may pick something up, but at the end of the day, I'm getting twice as much back as I could ever give. That's the way that I learn. It works for me. So to me, making a connection is the most important thing in anything you do. I still like to tell the story of poker is actually what led to me getting married. My wife and I, we got married 6 years to the day after we met. Denise moved in with me about 2 years after we started dating, and we were at a charity function. I'll never forget it. My father, not really ever being 100% comfortable with how to make the introduction, introduced Denise as my girlfriend. And I looked at it and I said, you know, we're in our late 30s, and it seemed weird. It seemed immature. And we got to talking about it. And I said, okay, I'll make you a deal. We'll get married when, and I'd been playing poker a lot. I said, we'll get married when I can make enough money playing poker to buy you the ring that I feel you deserve. And she was like, okay, I'm all in. And she'd gotten to the point where she wasn't going to ask me anymore because she was resigned to the fact that I just wasn't going to do it. I had $40-something thousand sitting there that I made in about 4 months. And I had said, all right, it was going to be a year-long process and I'd have to be really conservative. And all of a sudden I looked and I got invited to a free roll tournament down in Atlantic City at Caesars. And I said, something's got to be up because they don't just give this to everybody. Yeah. And that's what kind of triggered that thought in my mind of how much have I actually made doing this? And I didn't realize how far ahead I was. And sure enough, a couple days later, I called a friend of mine who's a jeweler and a diamond broker and said, come on over. And she walked, I'll never forget, she walked into my office. She's this little tiny woman. You know, she can't be 80 pounds. And she walks in and on my desk, she opens up this little silk satin bag and drops like a couple $100,000 worth of diamonds on my desk. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, how long have I known you? How long have we been working together? I've known your family. I trust you. And we sat there and she showed me about 20 stones and I looked at them and I said, you know what? That's the one. So what do we need to do? What direction are we going? What's the goal?
Question. I have no idea.
We need to get back on track. We got to figure out what the game plan is.
Ball with this.
We all have. If there is video and pictures of you standing in front of an office meeting at a board or whatever, it shows that level of authority because you're speaking in front of a room of 10, 20, 40 people. Remember you, and if you never want to talk to me again, here's 2 bottles of wine and something else.
Well,
And
how you doing?
and that's the way I look at it. Is I'm gonna get up. It's like having him with me has got me thinking so many different things right now. It's like I don't want to be patronizing. Like I went and dropped off $100 and something worth of peanut butter and jelly and cereal at Aaron and Rebecca's, and he was like, "Let me record it." I'm like, and I'm saying it's patronizing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I look at what we talked about the week before and what we talked about before and after I did it, and I'm like, but that's just what I do, you know.
Yes.
And the whole.
And if nobody's going to say, I always feel like you're doing a good deed, not because of that.
Right.
Why not talk about it
Well,
in a way?
That was where my head was at for a long time. It's like I've always done a lot of charity work, and I never talked about it to anybody. But then I started talking about it, and like about a year and a half ago, I got a call from one of the organizations I was doing work for, and they were like, through the link that you had, we got donations of this much more. And he said to me, he says, can you please promote it?
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? It's selfish of me to not share it.
And
if people look at me,
people.
and that's it. If people look at me and say I'm doing it for promotion or for self-gain, that's on them, not on me.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Sorry about all the
Wait, you guys
confusion.
never met?
No.
No, we never met before.
No.
I've been stalking him on social media.
I love it.
Oh, so you were the instigator then. Okay, good.
Yes,
Come
yes.
sit down.
So
I literally worked 3 doors down from Henry Weber in the corporate office at Remax in New York. Again, another bad decision in my life, but it worked out. And I look, and that's when I went back and said, okay, I'm not hireable anymore. I can't work with people under this is your limitations. This is what you're allowed to do. It's part of why I left Laffey. I'd like to run these ads that were challenging to consumers. Call an 800 number, put in your code. This was before the internet was the internet, and we'd capture your information and we'd go after them. So I was running ads on how to sell without an agent, for sale by owner, expired, deaths, divorce. I was a specialist at stressful situations. And I've looked at all of that over the years now to jump ahead and say the only way to make this work is to go into it with the mindset of there's more than enough to go around.
There is.
You've got to give your best to everybody you've got before you even have permission to ask for anything. And like I just said to you, I could give 1,000 times and ask you once and you say no, and I got to give another 1,000 to ask one more time. That's just the way that my mind works. Maybe it's the old school Italian in me. I'll do a favor for anybody just so I know that I have that one that if I ever need to ask it, I can come back and say, hey, remember that time you owe me one? But I don't ever want to. And I think that's the best way to run the company, is give to all the agents. And at the end of the day, I believe you get out of bed to make a difference, not a dollar. Therefore, go make a difference. The dollars will find you. So I wish it, well, this one, we will not be posting this one until after Thanksgiving. So I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks for tuning in to episode 2, or depending on how you look at it, episode 3. If you have any comments, suggestions, ideas, opinions, input, what you think we should name it, if we should change the name or just keep it the way it is, I would love to hear from you. Your feedback is our oxygen, as my mentor Gary Vaynerchuk says. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. I look forward to engaging with you. Share, subscribe, post, like, comment, all those other good things wherever those buttons are. Hold on to the steering wheel. Have a great week. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Skip.